Hi folks, this is your boy Mad Dog here with the Dude's Motor Vlogs. Today I'm going to be working on my 2003 Toyota Tundra. We're going to put front brakes on this thing. This is what I got here. I got these power stop or drilled and slotted rotors for the front. And I got power stop extreme severe duty and towing front pads. Part number right there. Can you see that part number right there? That first step is taking this plastic center cap off. Alright, so you need a 21mm socket, and we'll take these lug nuts off. Alright, first thing you want to do is a 12mm bolt for this brake line. Because see, this is a steel brake line that goes to your caliper here. Then you have a rubber line here. So you got to break this loose. And before you get that all the way out, there's a little clip here for your ABS line. See right here? You got to push these two clips in. See, it pops out. Once you got that out, this here will move. But I mean, it's a steel brake line here, so it only moves so much. But when we go to take the caliper off, we can move it that way. So next, you have to take these clips out here. So there's two clips there. I don't know how well you can see those. There's a pin with a clip, pin and a clip. So we'll take those out. The best thing for these is needle nose. You take it and pull them down. See, just a little tiny clip. I don't know how well you can see that. So there's the other one for the bottom. Alright, then you gotta take these pins out. See, if you sort of wiggle it and pull, they come out. Because they're kind of rusty. And you gotta watch. This has a spring here. So you just pull in, the spring will come out. And this pin holds that in. I'll show it to you when I get it all the way out. See, it has this where it goes around the pin. And these fit into your brake pad. And this, see, it pushes out on your brake pad so they don't drag on the rotor. Alright, that's the other pin. And before you take these pads out, take a big screwdriver, take it down at the bottom, and pry away. It will push your caliper back. Which you need two screwdrivers. You take one. After you push it all the way back, you leave that one so it stays there, then you go on this side and push this one back. Because otherwise it's all in one caliper. When you push this side, it pushes this one back. See, this way I can push it. See, that way you know they're all pushed all the way back. Then the pads just slip out. These Toyotas, they're super easy if you're just going to pad slap it, where you just put new pads in. Super easy, because that's all you have to do. And you just put new pads in and you're good to go. But I'm not doing that, because that's what they did last time. And see, these pads are all glazed. They have no stopping power when they're all glazed, and the rotors are all warped. Because they didn't turn the rotors last time they put brakes on this thing. Now you got the pads out, you got to take this caliper off. As you can see, there's a bolt here and a bolt here. And that holds your caliper on. You got to unbolt those, and your caliper will come off. On a bungee cord to hold your caliper so it's not hanging by the brake hose. Alright, as you can see, I have a bungee cord here. This one's a little bit long for what I like. So you can see I just put it over the top of the control arm and let it hang down. Where the bolts are I take out, I'll just hang it on that. See, now the caliper will just come off. See, that way your caliper won't fall. See, you slide it to the back See, it sits on your dust shield and it's strapped. It can't really go anywhere. Then you got to get your rotor off. Put a couple lug nuts on there, so when you go to hit it, you don't hit the threads. I'll show you. See, hit it like right here. Alright, that one's pretty stubborn. It's been on there a long time. I'm just going to hit it on the back and it'll break loose. And these rotors, because they're drilled and slotted, are directional. See how it says front passenger side? Alright folks, next thing you want to do, take your can of brake clean, shake it up real good, which I already shook this up some before I showed this because I would shake it a little more than that. Make sure you put the hose in there so you know which way it's spraying so you don't spray yourself in the face. And make sure the wind's not blowing back in your face. And spray this off. You gotta spray both sides. They put like an oil on them to keep them from rusting when they ship them from China to America. So you want to get all that oil off there, because otherwise it won't stop worth a shit. I just lightly spray it after I put it on because I kind of touched it. I try not to touch the surface, but I mean you kind of do when you put it on. So. Alright, see now it looks true. See, it's not wobbling. You just want to make sure it doesn't wobble. With the naked eye, if you see it wobble, you have problems. Alright, well the next part, you gotta put your caliper back on. Gotta take this, undo your bungee cord, put your caliper back on. These bolts here, 17 millimeter. And put them in with your hand so you don't cross thread them. You can wiggle the caliper around, it helps you get the bolts in. Because they kind of bind a little bit. Because this caliper is pretty heavy. You can always put a dab of grease on these bolts if they don't want to go in, if they're rusty. If you live in the salt belt, which I don't live in the salt belt, so. Then tighten them up. This is a good time, while you're thinking of it, to put your brake line back together. I put the bolt back in the brake line. It's this 12 millimeter bolt here. Take the socket off. Use a 1/4 inch ratchet, that way you can't break this little bolt off. It's only 12 millimeter. Take the socket off a deep well, that way it makes it easier to turn. Because the bolt is underneath the brake line, it's hard to get your fingers in there. If you turn it in with your hand, you can't cross thread it with your hand. Then just tighten it up. And see, there's the ABS sensor here. It just goes in this hole. Just push it in until it clicks into place. And while you're doing this, take your bungee cord off so you don't forget it. Alright, see, this is your surface where your pad's sitting here, here, and here, and here. You want to clean those with a wire brush to get that rust out of there. Wear safety glasses when you're doing this. Put a little bit on the back of these pads so where it rides, that way it'll keep it from making noise. If you don't put grease on there, and don't use like wheel bearing grease, use brake grease. It's a silicone grease, so if it gets on your rotor, you won't have problems. You don't need a ton. You just want it where it has some kind of lubrication on there. See, this is one of those situations you just want a light coating on there. You don't want extra because then it just makes a mess. And with these pads, this squeaker here, you can kind of bend it a little bit because they have it where it's sticking out quite a ways. So you want it like that where it's just sticking out a little bit. And that squeaker goes on the inside. It goes like this. On these pads, put a dab of grease along here. It sounds kind of funny, but how these sit in there on these kind of calipers, it'll make noise if you don't put grease there. Alright, so you put a little grease on the ends, so when it fits in there, see, it keeps it from making noise from clunking back and forth. Alright, we'll do the same thing on this other pad here too. We'll get some grease on there. Alright, so that's that. Alright, if you're doing this, the slide pins that go through here, you can put a light coating. This is brake grease. This is something I had from, this is actually Toyota brake grease. When you put these pins in, it kind of helps if you tap on them. They're kind of tight. Before you get too carried away, there's a clip that goes on there. See this clip here? Goes around the top like this. So slide that on there and slide this side on too. Kind of helps you use needle nose. See, it goes around the top of the pin. This goes around this pin it slides in. Then this goes on the outside of the pad. And see, there's a hole there and a hole there. That pin goes in there, and this just stays out in the open. And that keeps your pads spread apart so they don't drag on the rotor. See, that's all there is to it. You gotta put your little clip on the end there. See, I put grease on there to help it slide and keeps everything from making noise. Then in your bag here, they give you new clips. See these little clips, they look like body clips like for a remote control truck. That's what they use. So I'm not gonna use theirs, I'm gonna use these Toyota ones. See these Toyota ones, I don't know if you can see that. See that they have like a end on there and it's either round or they're squared. They don't come off when you put these on there. I like the Toyota ones a lot better than those like ones from China. Those are like for a remote control truck body or something. Grease the bottom pin and put it in here. You kind of there's holes in these pads, so you got to make sure they line up. You sort of wiggle it around, it'll go like that. The top one always fights you more because you're trying to get everything to line up, because these pads could go push in or out, or they can be crooked and it fights you more. The bottom one always goes in easier because you have the top one lining it up. I'm going to use the Toyota clip on the bottom too. See, that's all there is to it. Alright, see, that's how it all goes. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. If you have any questions, you can see what I did there. So this is the outside. So now you just gotta put the tire back on. Alright, now with these lug nuts, put them all on with your fingers. That way you can't strip anything out. And when you tighten these, you want to do a cross pattern. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you go around one more time and finally tighten them all the way up. Put your center cap on. See, there's a notch right here for where this notch goes, where you put your screwdriver to take it off. there you go. Make sure it spins freely. Looks good. Go to the other side.